Welcome back, everybody, to the War Room Live. I'm your host, The Political Offender. Thank you for stopping in and giving me your time today. Make sure, if you're watching me right now, hit the like button, hit the sub button. If you support the channel as well, follow my page on The Patriot on TV or The Political Offender on X. With that all out of the way, you guys know I don't like to waste your time. So let's go ahead and dive right into this news we have for you today. So with that, our first story of the evening is very interesting because the President of the United States just said out loud that America might use its military to intervene in the bond market. This isn't as a joke or a hypothetical, it's his exact policy he's talking about. So his exact words are, the ultimate intervention is our military, and if we have to use that, we will. Let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say here.
Intervene in the bond market?
No, not at all. No, he's a very capable man. He wanted to do it. He's very good at it. He has a good touch, very good natural touch for the bonds and interest, and he did that, yeah.
The yields have come back up since then. Have you talked to him about another type of intervention? Is that something he will be doing?
We have many types of intervention. That's one. The ultimate intervention is our military. And if we have to use that, we will.
Okay, so we see that. And we're talking about treasury yields right now, bonds, okay? This is the thing that determines your mortgage rate, your car loan, what basically costs your small business to borrow, to even make payroll. And the solution offered to all of this is military force. Okay, well, let's give you some of the facts first here. We see that the treasury yields have been elevated. And right now, the 10-year sits above where the markets want it, obviously. And it's just a fact. You know, these yields basically directly determine, like I said, your mortgage rate. And most people don't even understand that. So when the 10-year rate goes up, your mortgage goes up. We're talking about, 6-7% mortgages crushing your first-time home buyers all throughout America. And it's really not funny, but you know the meme. So anyways, we see that this is crushing existing homeowners who need a refinance, and it's crushing homeowners who need to buy right now. So this is the real damage we're seeing to families immediately. And the president is frustrated, rightfully so, that bond yields aren't where he wants them. But maybe when you print infinite money into the sky and then give the military budget $1.5 trillion, it's a little inflationary. So normally you would handle this through actual policy. You would cut spending. You'd have the Fed cut rates to restore confidence in the dollar. Like, these are the normal type of things you would do. And, obviously this isn't some throwaway comment from the president. It was stated directly to the press here as a very definite policy position, okay, that we would use military intervention to force that policy. So while what's really going on here is we have a very fundamental problem in this country, okay? We spend more money than we have. We all know that. We have about 40 trillion in debt. We're seeing almost $1 trillion in a month added to the national debt. Every single year, we're borrowing more money that we'll never end up repaying. And we're basically asking the world, China, Japan, the Gulf states, private investors to just hold that debt and accept dollars as a reserve currency. Which is, I guess, it's backed by the military intervention, like he said. So when you do that, I guess what else can you say? But anyways, it's like, we know the bond market, it's very deciding on whether people believe you'll pay them back. It's a referendum, okay? It's simple as that. And right now, people are very skeptical, so the yields are high. And that's just what's going on here. It's just the math. That's what's talking right now. It is the math. And the math ain't mathin'. So when you can't get people to buy your debt because they don't believe you'll repay it, you actually have three options, which is cut spending, you reduce the deficit, you restore fiscal sanity, okay? This is impossible, though, because Congress, Republicans and Democrats, they love spending money on weapon systems, entitlements, foreign aid, corporate subsidies. I mean, just pick your poison, right? It's everything. So nobody wants to actually cut anything because it's very unpopular. So this option gets taken off the table immediately. Option 2, you have the Federal Reserve cut interest rates and print money to buy your debt. This restores confidence in the short term, but it destroys the currency over time and it hammers any kind of savers, people on fixed incomes, anyone holding cash. And obviously, we know this has been the preferred method for over 30 years. And that's why you see real estate the way where it's at right now. Okay? It's insane. So anyways, This is what we're talking about now. It's pretty wild. This is where we're at. The bond yields are insane. It's almost returning as much as stocks are, and it's 100% guaranteed bonds from the United States government. Okay, stocks, it's a 7 to 10% return yearly. It's not guaranteed though. Bonds are guaranteed. So you talk about military intervention, and here's the thing that should kind of terrify you. Okay, the bond market doesn't work on threats. Okay, the bond market works on confidence. So you know what happens when you threaten military force to manipulate financial markets? I mean, the whole world kind of looks and says, maybe this country is unstable, you know? And maybe they'll start getting out of dollars. And who knows what they're going to go into from that. But I believe there's a definite policy with the BRICS nations to produce an economy like that. But it won't happen for a long time. I mean, we're talking like 20 years still. But in the meantime, what's going to happen? So we could be watching the beginning of the de-dollarization in real time currently. And like I said, BRICS launched a currency unit, and obviously central banks aren't going to be on that immediately, but you give it 20, 30 years, maybe the BRICS nations will be able to come up with a stable currency in that time that would beat the US dollar reserve. But with nuclear powers worldwide, it's kind of hard to decide on what these economic markets are going to look like, because when you have nuclear powers, it's not like a nation can just fall when they have nuclear power, okay? Especially like America, Russia. These countries have unlimited amounts of nuclear bombs that could destroy the whole world. So you can't just defeat that nation economically when militarily they can do that. So it'll be interesting to see the economic policy behind that. With that, though, everybody, let's go ahead and dive in to our next piece of news. And this is President Trump ranting, okay? And he posts on Truth Social absolutely unloading on Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Thomas Massey, and he's calling them losers, fools, irrelevant. And he wrote, and I quote this because you got to see the pettiness here. He said, "What a team this would be. 3 losers and a pocket full of change," is what he said. He said Tucker's a low IQ, has been, who nobody cares about anymore. He said Massey's a failed politician and a real jerk. And he said Greene went from ultra-conservative to a liberal fool in weeks, allegedly because Trump didn't pick up his phone. So why the meltdown? I guess this is because in early August, these 3 met together and Carlson unveiled what he's calling a, quote, Save America manifesto. Now, this is not a new party platform yet, but it's apparently a roadmap saying that the American political system is basically totally incapable of responding to reality. How interesting. And this is suggesting that just maybe we need a third party or multiple parties to fix this mess. So this is the trigger, and this is why we believe President Trump is kind of freaking out on them. And now, what's interesting is we could be watching a America First coalition. Obviously, it's been cracking apart because Trump stopped being America First. But now we see this really cracking. And everyone predicted this when he got elected, that the party would fracture into multiple parties. And now you see it. And if you think about it as well, in 2016, MAGA won, okay, because Trump promised to end these forever wars, to end the military adventurism, okay, to get out of the Middle East, stop this nation building while American cities are crumbling, to stop letting our soldiers die for other countries' interests. You know, this was the appeal. It was the appeal that he wasn't the establishment, that he was going to end all the BS that was going on in the country and, you know, cut the deficit down. So that was, you know, obviously the break from 30 years of Bush, Clinton, you know, Bush, Obama, neoconism disaster is what we saw during then. And what did we actually get from President Trump? He's hardening on against Iran. He's bombing Iran. He's supporting military posture that benefits Israel while squeezing American resources. And he's doing the exact thing he pretty much ran against. So we see that this is a problem because Carlson, Massey, and Greene, whether you like them personally or not, you know, I don't really have anything against them, but I don't really have anything for them. They're pointing at this contradiction here, you know, and it's Trump's response is to call them basically just losers, like to insult them personally instead of defending his own policy. That's not strength, okay, or any kind of strength. It sounds like a panic to me, honestly. And obviously, I don't want to say the deep state got Trump, but he is what he ran against, okay? And I'm not talking to this QAnon aid like nonsense, okay? I mean, the institutional gravity of Washington is so powerful that even a guy who campaigned on defying it ends up trapped in the same playbook now. So obviously, the Israel lobby has his ear as well, and we know that. And then suddenly, all this happened because the generals are in his ear. The think tanks are flooding him with briefings about geopolitics and geostrategy. And the Israel lobby, like I said, he's in his ear. So obviously, with all of these factors, suddenly now he's the warmongering Republican everybody said he would never be. And he said he would never be. It's very interesting to know the history behind all that. And now the underreported detail here is as well, that should really terrify everyone on Trump's team is, these Epstein documents, MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, brought up the Epstein documents. And she said Trump's been trying to keep them buried. And Trump's response was just personal attacks. He didn't even address it. He didn't say, I'm releasing them. I get he signed an act to get them put out. But that's also a big problem with the trust and institutional trust in this country, is the Epstein documents never really got the full truth behind them. So why are some of these documents still classified? Why not just blow it wide open? It's just very concerning to think about. Anyways, obviously, this third-party talk from Carlson and the others, it's probably a distraction, frankly. I mean, you can't just build a real third party in this country. The electoral system is rigged against it, and money's rigged against it. The media coverage is rigged against it. You're just not going to get that pushed through. But the fact is that we can push America first through the Republican Party, and you've already seen it happen with James Fishback. He had over 100,000 America Firsters vote for him in this election in Florida. So it goes to show you that our generation, we're going to be building into the Republican Party, and we are all going to have a very strong order within inside the Republican Party, which is a big deal. So we got to, in my opinion, to continue that. But with that, let's go ahead and move into the scumbag Hassan Piker, who mocks the murder of Charlie Kirk while dressed up as Chairman Mao Zedong from China, who killed 100 million people. Okay, so we see at the Golden Gate Theater, and this is in San Francisco. It's a very nice venue. And we see that a radical leftist, you might know him, Hassan Piker, he dressed up, like I said, as Chairman Mao Zedong, okay, in a full costume, the whole cosplay, and he got on stage and mocked the murder of Charlie Kirk, and he actually sang the viral song about it. He literally sang it and then posted a photo from the event on social media with the caption, quote, "Carried the flame tonight," meaning the Charlie Kirk tribute song, okay? And if you guys aren't aware who this is, okay, this is the same guy who back in May, just a few months ago, he got served a subpoena by the Treasury Department because he traveled to Cuba as a part of something called the Nuestra America Convoy. I believe that's how you pronounce it. But anyways, we see federal investigators are now looking at whether Piker and up to 40 other American activists violated U.S. sanction laws by coordinating with the Cuban government to deliver goods and money to the island. And where's the funding pipeline? Let's talk about this. Okay, so we know there's a billionaire named Neville Roy Singham who has pumped hundreds of millions of dollars into nonprofits that push the pro-Cuba, pro-China, anti-American messaging. And I guess he's married to Jody Evans, the co-founder of Code Pink. His networks was directly involved in organizing this Cuba convoy. And now federal authorities are as well investigating this entire funding apparatus. So this guy, he hates America. He literally hates white people. He comes out and says, like, white people should, like, allegedly be killed. That's the alleged statement. But you have this billionaire funding hundreds and funneling hundreds of millions of dollars into organizations that exist for one purpose: to make Americans hate America. And at scale, I mean, it works. You've seen it work because Hassan Piker is who he is. And I mean, you've got this billionaire generating wealth in America, which then he converts into anti-American activism. So how messed up is that? And I believe that federal investigators are going to find a lot into this funding behind all of this information. So when someone like Charlie Kirk gets murdered, okay, one of the faces of this network mocked it, okay? And it's Hassan Piker. And this guy is just scum from hell. He needs to be locked up in a federal penitentiary for the rest of his life. Honestly, this guy needs to be sent to hell immediately. And, you know, that's just what I'm saying. I have so much just hatred towards Hassan Piker. I'm sorry, but I'm ranting. Let's just show you the clip. Okay, I'm not going to watch that anymore. But anyways, you see him literally mocking the dude who, you know, almost got his head blown off on just live stream. And he's mocking this tribute song. And one thing that's very interesting about this is the Democrats aren't saying he's a part of their party. It's only that he's a part of the Radical Socialist DSA party inside the Democratic Party, because they don't even want him. He's already messed up multiple elections for them as well. And also, like I said, CNN, MSNBC, these major papers, they will bury all of this and not talk about it because it implicates people and organizations that are tied to the Democratic politics. And it looks very bad when you end up on the election stage and you get a guy like this. I mean, it's good for us because he destroys any kind of voting integrity through the Democrats. But this is just what we have in America now. And this is just how radical, insane half of America is now. It's just disgusting. I'm ranting. And with that, I really appreciate you guys all stopping in and giving me your time today. We had a little bit of a longer episode today, a lot more news on a Sunday. But with that, all of you have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode.